The recent Los Angeles wildfires have left a trail of devastation in their wake. We see the charred landscapes and the ruined homes. We hear the stories of loss and displacement. But there's another crisis unfolding, one hidden from plain sight. It's the mental health crisis, a silent suffering that can linger long after the smoke has cleared. The emotional toll of wildfires is profound. Survivors grapple with trauma, loss, and the daunting task of rebuilding their lives. This essay delves into the hidden mental health crisis after the LA wildfires. We must understand the needs of survivors and advocate for their well-being. This is not just about providing immediate aid. It's about understanding that the journey to recovery is long and arduous. Many survivors will carry the invisible scars of this disaster for years to come. They deserve our compassion, our support, and our unwavering commitment to ensuring their mental well-being. The immediate aftermath of a wildfire is a blur of chaos and survival. But as the weeks turn into months, the true extent of the mental health crisis begins to emerge. Survivors are grappling with the loss of their homes, their belongings, and their sense of security. Many have witnessed terrifying scenes of destruction and faced life-threatening situations. These experiences can leave deep emotional scars. The stress doesn't end there. Survivors face the daunting task of navigating insurance claims, finding temporary housing, and rebuilding their lives. The financial burden can be overwhelming. The uncertainty of the future can be paralyzing. Many are forced to confront these challenges while also dealing with the emotional fallout of the disaster. The mental health implications of this ongoing stress are significant. It's a cruel irony that disasters often hit the most vulnerable the hardest. This is certainly true in the case of wildfires. Low-income communities and communities of color often bear the brunt of these disasters. They may live in areas more susceptible to wildfires, have fewer resources to prepare for and recover from such events, and lack access to adequate healthcare, including mental health services. For many in these communities, the wildfire is not just a natural disaster, it's an economic catastrophe. They may have lost their jobs, their homes, and their support networks. The trauma of the fire is compounded by pre-existing inequalities and systemic barriers to recovery. This toxic combination can have a devastating impact on mental health. In the wake of any disaster, the immediate focus is rightly on saving lives and providing basic necessities. But all too often, the mental health needs of survivors are overlooked. This neglect can have dire consequences. Untreated trauma can manifest in a myriad of ways, from anxiety and depression to substance abuse and PTSD. We need to treat mental health care with the same urgency as physical health care. This means ensuring that survivors have access to mental health professionals, counseling services and support groups. It means training first responders to recognize and address signs of trauma. And it means creating a culture of support and understanding, where people feel comfortable seeking help without stigma. The psychological wounds inflicted by wildfires are often invisible, but they are no less real. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a common and debilitating condition that can develop after experiencing or witnessing a traumatic event. Symptoms can include flashbacks, nightmares, anxiety, and avoidance of anything that reminds the person of the trauma. But PTSD is not the only risk. Wildfires also increase the likelihood of depression, anxiety, and substance abuse. These conditions can have a profound impact on every aspect of a person's life, affecting their relationships, their work, and their overall well-being. The mental health effects of wildfires can be long-lasting, with some individuals experiencing symptoms for months or even years after the event. In the face of such immense loss and trauma, community becomes more important than ever. Social support networks provide a lifeline for survivors. They offer a space to share experiences, process emotions, and find strength in collective healing. Community-led initiatives can play a vital role in supporting mental well-being after wildfires. These initiatives can take many forms, from support groups and counseling services to community gardens and art therapy programs. By fostering a sense of belonging and shared purpose, these initiatives help survivors rebuild their lives and reclaim their communities. As communities begin the long process of rebuilding after wildfires, a new threat emerges: gentrification. As property values rise and rebuilding efforts get underway, there's a risk that lower-income residents, many of whom were already struggling before the fire, will be priced out of their own neighborhoods. This displacement can have a devastating impact on mental health, severing social ties, uprooting families, and exacerbating existing inequalities. It's crucial that rebuilding efforts prioritize the needs of all residents, not just the wealthy and the privileged. We must ensure that everyone has the opportunity to return to their communities and rebuild their lives. The mental health crisis unfolding in the wake of the LA wildfires demands our attention and our action. We cannot afford to ignore the invisible wounds of this disaster. Here's what you can do. Support mental health resources. Donate to organizations providing mental health services to wildfire survivors and first responders. Amplify survivor stories. Share the stories of those impacted by the fires to raise awareness about the mental health challenges they face. Advocate for change. Contact your elected officials and urge them to prioritize mental health funding and support for wildfire survivors. Check in on your loved ones. If you know someone who has been affected by the wildfires, reach out to them and offer your support. Your voice and your actions can make a difference. Together we can help ensure that wildfire survivors receive the mental health care they need and deserve. The LA wildfires have left an indelible mark on our city, but amidst the ashes there is hope. The human spirit is resilient. Communities are coming together to support one another, and with the right resources and support, survivors can and will heal. Let us not forget the invisible wounds of this disaster. Let us stand with the survivors and commit to their long-term well-being. The journey to recovery may be long, but together we can emerge from the ashes stronger than ever.